Hello gamers and welcome back to the final stage of this season's Memory of Chaos. I want to show you my thoughts about these battles, my ideas of how to beat them, and of course I will show you exactly how I did it. Our turbulence buff this time around is called Adrift in Astral Seas, quite the elegant name, right? But yeah, what it does is basically whenever a character gets hit or removes some of his own HP, he gets a so-called memory imprint. And the more you have of those, the less damage the character takes. And also at the beginning of a turn, all of these get removed. And depending on how many you gathered on one single character, only the highest amount counts, you damage the enemies as well. Of course, this works amazingly well for destruction characters and especially, what a surprise, for the newest character in the game, Blade. But I will show you how to do all of this without using Blade or any destruction characters at all. So for the first battle, you can see that the recommended elements are lightning and fire, which is pretty interesting because we don't see fire too often. But that is exactly why I opted for my Erudition lightning combo here with Qingyuan and Tingyuan. And they are actually joined by the Trailblazer of fire this time around. Usually I'm using March with them, but seeing how fire is actually really good in this fight, I'm using the Trailblazer here. The second battle is against Kafka, and the recommended elements for that one are Imaginary and Wind. I do not own any good Wind characters at all, so, but yeah, let's talk about that later. Let's do the first fight first, and let's see what is happening here. The first wave was of course pretty simple, so no need to talk about that. But in the second wave we have this Prowler boss enemy. And with my setup, since we are dealing so much AoE damage, this is actually quite easy as well. What this guy does is he summons otherlings, so small minions of his, and what he's trying to do afterwards is he wants to devour those. And he gets like a pretty good attack buff from doing that. But if you manage to kill those otherlings before he can do that, what you saw here, he cannot devour them, and then he gets a defense debuff instead. Yeah, since we are dealing so much AoE damage, it's no problem for us to kill those otherlings before he can do that. So even the second wave is actually insanely easy for us. So one other cool thing about the Fire Trailblazer in these battles is that he actually can make pretty good use of the turbulence here. Even though he is not a destruction character, of course, and he doesn't remove his own HP, he's a preservation character, so his innate taunt value is pretty high. He gets hit quite a lot. And of course he also has his skill, which basically, well, taunts enemies, which forces them to attack him. So, in other words, long story short, he gets hit quite a lot. That means he has a very high chance of gathering a lot of these memory imprints, which not only means that he gets even tankier since he's taking less damage, but also you gather a lot of these imprints, which means you get a lot of these, well, this beginning of the turn damage on the enemies kind of thing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I feel like the Fire Trailblazer is actually one of the better characters in this Memory of Chaos here. So keep that in mind. Here in this case, for example, we are even killing this boss with this turbulence buff. So that's kind of funny. Okay, so the final wave. The final wave in this battle can be quite annoying, since we are facing two of these Guardian Shadows. And man, if they team up on one single character, they can screw you over quite easily. So I actually had to try a few times until I got past them. But if you manage to keep your defenses up, especially with a tank and a healer in your team setup, then you can definitely get through this. The biggest problem you have with these guys is that they are going to use their, whatever the attack is called, I think Binding of the Golden Age. They are using that, here we go, Binding of the Golden Age. They are using that attack together. So they both get a stack of 9 that you have to remove. And, you know, depending on how many stacks they have left, they are dealing a huge amount of damage to you. So what you want to do is you want to attack them in any kind of way. Every hit counts and removes one of these stacks. What you can do, especially if you only have single target damage, is you can focus your attacks on one of these to get, well, her stacks like really low, and you can try to break the toughness of the other one. So what that is going to do is, well, you're basically only taking damage from one of these, and this one is hopefully going to be the one with the lower amount of stacks. So that's one strat you can apply here. Whenever I see them preparing that attack, I basically completely focus on attacking these enemies. And I stop, for example, you know, I'm not going to use a heal with a Natasha or a taunt with the Fire Trailblazer. Instead, I'm just going to auto-attack to get these stacks down as quickly as possible. If you have a Harmony character with the Dance 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 Light Cone that speeds your party up, that is of course also quite nice because you can get more hits in. Or if you have like any other means to boost your party's speed, Asta comes to mind with her ultimate, then you definitely want to use that here. That gives you quite the edge over these attacks here. But yeah, you can see how stressful this can be. This is actually getting quite close, and they are also imprisoning my support characters, so this is all very, very scary, but, you know, you just have to tough it out. Don't feel bad if you die once or twice against these guys. I believe that is totally normal, but yeah. You just have to tough it out, and eventually you are getting to this point where, like right now, we are getting pretty close to killing these. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be the final turn of this battle. The bosses are pretty low. Yeah, Binding of the Golden Age, I don't think we care about that anymore. You guys are already dead. Yeah, there's one more Lightning Lord coming at the end of the turn, so that should be it. What are you doing? Another Binding of the Golden Age. Okay, yeah. Goodbye. Okay, so that's it for the first fight. Second one. 33 remaining cycles, that's quite a lot. Feels pretty good. And once again, we are fighting Kafka here. So in this fight, since we don't really have any means of making good use of the Turbulence buff, I'm just completely focusing on dealing damage. This is a very high damage comp, and we don't really have a lot of defense, but I have full trust. I fully believe in Luocha's healing abilities. So, yeah, for the first wave, let's try to play it a bit smart. Let's try to get our ultimates filled up. And then we just go really hard on the second wave. Time-wise, I do not think we need to worry too much at the moment. 33 remaining cycles after the first fight is a lot. So, yeah, let's see what we can do here. So I'll keep all of the ultimates ready besides Sailor's one, because I want to use that to speed the first wave up a bit. Since even though we are doing fine on the cycles, you know, there's no need to waste any time. So there's one guy left here, and we are going to exploit this guy. We are using him to fill up our ultimate gauges to get ready for the second wave. Yeah, I'll probably not kill this guy during this turn. It will be pretty close, I think. Let's see how lucky we get with the crits. Oh yeah, pretty lucky, but it was still not enough. Okay, the Turbulence kills him already. Anyway, second wave starts. We are using Val's ultimate immediately to slow the enemies down a bit, and then we are just going, you know, full attack mode on the boss enemy here. Once again, it is a disciple of Sanctus Medicus Shapeshifter boss enemy, which you know him pretty well by now, I would assume. He's the guy who summons minions with revive buffs. And as long as there's a minion with a revive buff on the field, the boss also gets a lifesteal buff. which we are not going to even care about because our comp deals such a huge amount of damage that we can just basically ignore everything. Silverwolf is applying a guaranteed quantum weakness on this enemy, since he is already weak to imaginary and we only have quantum and imaginary in our team comp. With the Luocha's ultimate, we can also dispel the buffs on the enemies. But in this case, it is really not needed, as you can see. Our damage is just too big. The boss is already pretty much dead at this point. And we can already start thinking about what we do against Kafka here. So once again, the enemies got killed by the Turbulence buff. You can see, even though it's not a lot of damage, it can still help you with cleaning the waves. So, you know, it's not something you need to really care too much about, but it is something that is going to help you. So, the final wave. We are not only facing Kafka, we are also facing another one of these Sanctus Medicus shapeshifter boss enemies. So, this is quite a tough decision, because both are pretty dangerous in my opinion. But I'm going to focus on Kafka here. That was my choice. I'm not sure if it was the right one, but hey, I cleared, so you know, couldn't be too bad. But yeah, we are completely focusing on Kafka. Same principle here. We are guaranteed to apply a quantum weakness on her with Silverwolf, since she is already weak to imaginary. Then we are also using Luocha's ultimate here to dispel the lifesteal buff on the shapeshifter enemy. So Silverwolf got dominated by Kafka here, which isn't really the worst case scenario. We already got Silverwolf's skill applied on Kafka, so right now we don't really need Wolf too much, so this is actually quite nice. I believe any character would have been a bit worse if they got dominated, so I will take this. Kafka at this point, by the way, is already half dead, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Sayla is quite low here, so I think I'm going to play it safe and heal her. Okay, so Luocha's field disappeared after his turn here. So I'm just going to use his ultimate immediately afterwards to get one of the stacks back. So we only need one more heal, and there it is to get our field back. So that is some easy passive healing. Of course, Welt ultimate here. Use it whenever you have it. It helps so much by slowing the enemies down. Okay. The ads are actually dying by themselves without we even caring about them. That is awesome. Come on, give me a lucky crit, Sailor. Nope. Game says no, of course. No crit for me. But I guess that is cool too, you know. Gotta think positive. At least no one can say, oh yeah, this guy just got lucky with his crits. No. You can see we don't need luck. We know what we are doing here. Anyway, this is getting pretty close to a very comfortable situation in which Kafka is already dead. And her quite annoying debuffs are nothing that I need to care about anymore. And, you know, when we are only dealing with this Sanctus Medicus shapeshifter enemy, we've already shown that in the second wave that we have no problem dealing with one of these guys. Alrighty, so let's get into killing Kafka here. Looking at my turns here, by the way, I was or am not entirely sure what the requirements were for getting all of the stars. It might have been 24 cycles left, in which case, yeah, I felt like I need to hurry it up a bit at this point. So yeah, let's see what we can do. So once more, Luocha ultimate, getting the field up, also dispelling the lifesteal buff on the Sanctus Medicus enemy. And yeah, this is probably, yep, this is a dead Kafka. And now we are only dealing with this guy. He's imprisoned. He is toughness broken. He is basically done. This guy is, you know, he's all alone. He has no chance of dealing with our waifus and husbandos. So Yeah, that's basically it. This is the final stage for Memory of Chaos this season, guys. We did it once again, didn't even use the signature character for this Memory of Chaos, so it was 20 seconds. Okay, so I was even quite fast. Alrighty. So, for the grand finale of this video, guys, let's get into our character showcase so you guys know what I was using. I'm going to show you all of the characters I've been using in Stage 9 and Stage 10. And, you know, quickly scrolling through all of the stats, all of the light cones, traces, relics, and eidolon levels. And if you guys want to check, you know, anything a bit closer, like take your time reading, for example, what kind of stats I have on these characters, feel free to pause the video at any point. You guys will see there is really nothing too crazy going on. I am a low spender, is what the community calls it. I'm purchasing the Express Pass tickets and the Battle Passes, and that's it. I have never spent any additional money on the game, and I don't plan to, because, in my opinion, this is actually more fun, because I have to make use of, you know, whatever I have. I have to make use of the limited resources that I have to get through this, and as you can see, and I think that's a really cool thing about this game, even though it is gacha, and it does, you know, give you the opportunity to boost your experience by spending money. People like me, people like us, who do not spend a lot of money can still beat, you know, the most competitive stuff in the game, the most difficult challenges. It is all possible without spending money at all, I believe. Fun fact, I initially started this game as kind of a meme because I wanted to make fun of, you know, gacha games in general and how hyped the game was. But then I played it and I loved it and I got so attached that I'm pretty much playing the game every single day now. So yeah, I really hope they keep the game the way it is in the future as well. Alrighty, I hope this video was helpful and fun to watch. I hope I could give you some hints and you can beat the Memory of Chaos yourself. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my videos. It's been a blast. I'm always having a lot of fun engaging with the community. And I guess I'll see you in the next Memory of Chaos.